Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my show. Another Monday, another day, and another show. Thank you all for listening and tuning in, and continue to do so. We've got some great things coming up. As usual, I really don't know the topic. It's up to everybody that asks me questions. That leads me into what I'm going to talk about. But I'm just going to read another poem from my book. It's Listen and Words. What is documented within our subconscious? Often we ask what we do not remember, for it is only we who have the answers. Listen to your thoughts. Listen to your dreams. Answers are all around you. Words. We are who we are. We are. See, I wrote this and I still can't read it. People who are in our surroundings. They are all hidden messages. Sleep and you dream. Think and you have thoughts. Walk and you will find. Hear and you will see what is to be. For my children, we are all blessed with this. What wonders are buried within our souls that we call our subconscious? It holds our being since time began. Understand now, listen, think, feel, go in peace. And I sign it, as always, Zena. So anybody that is interested in listening to my book, I have it now on an audio book, which Dawn just reminded me. I said, if it's an ebook, how do they see the pictures in here? But it's a book just like anything else. So I'm thinking an audio book, you won't see it, but you do on the ebook. So just go into, I believe, on Amazon or Author House, or into my new website, artbysallybarnard.com, and you can have all the resources there to buy the book. So here, on with the show. Any questions? I'm available if you want to call in.
Also, your website has the clothing.
Yes,
it has the design work.
Yes, I'm really excited about that, Freddie. Thank you, because I'm in kind of my trance right now. But yes, I'm getting a lot of feedback, and people are saying to me, this is amazing what I'm doing with the clothes, because I started out actually just painting, and then it changes my artwork. And then one of the few last ones that I've been doing this last year, I'm thinking, what am I doing? But now I see it was all about starting this new website with my art on clothing, because it's a little different. And I have sportswear where, you know, people wear the shoes. I have even shoes to match some of the clothes that are on there. So I feel I'm a little different with that because it's original art. So please go into my website. I think it'll be starting tomorrow. We've just got a few things to fine tune. There we go, artbysallybarnard.com. Just look at it and see, and if you want to purchase, it's all ready to go now. If not, just enjoy my art on clothing. Thank you.
When people ask Sally, what type of psychic are you, what type of medium?
Well,
how would you describe what you do?
That's a good question, because I've often been told that I can give messages, Dawn, as you know, and I can give names and places, but true to who I feel that I am, I like to give not so much predictions. I work very much with questions, and sometimes people want to know a little bit more than who are they going to meet and where the future is going. But if it's a specific question about what's going on with the world, aliens, I love that. To me, if I will talk about anything, but I love that sort of question. It's more into perhaps maybe I'm a teacher. I don't claim to know a lot more than anyone else, but I've had the gift to be able to verbalize a lot of what I'm feeling and what I see and hear. So I feel that I'm going out into the world teaching a little bit more than maybe someone that hasn't seen it, to open their eyes a little bit more so that they can then do the same as what I'm doing. It's about spreading the word of whatever that could be, of what is happening, where do we go after we pass away, and why are we here? So I love that sort of question. To me, I rely on my guides to answer me, because I often say, where did I get that information from? I don't believe Sally knows that, but I've been able to tune into them, and I have tremendous gratitude for that. In the beginning, I really didn't understand what was happening to me. However, through the years that I've been doing this program now, I listen to myself and I think, well, I really didn't know that. So to me, it's validation that I'm being channeled in some way to talk about this. Of course, I'm learning as I talk because it's coming through me. But I appreciate what I now feel that is a gift that I have. I was very reluctant to say that, as you guys know. But I feel that if this, especially now with the world the way it is, and we all talk about it, we know that things are going on, if we can just bring a little peace and happiness within our own personal space, I believe that that travels and it goes out into the universe. And we all, one by one, can make a difference. And that's really basically what I feel that I'm doing this show for.
Sally, I'm glad you brought that up because, and G-Man's here with me today because we are going to try something aggressive. Yeah, we know how the world is right now. And there's an old saying that when it gets hard, you got to get harder.
Mm-hmm.
So is this the right time to push? Because we're about to take an undertaking that a lot of people would be shy about. We don't want to sit. We know things are tough for everybody. You can't even find eggs now the way things are going. Yeah. But do we sit or do we get up and keep going?
My word is action. That's what I'm feeling. I think you have to take that initiative and start action, because if everybody, and it's, you know, you all sit and you talk about what you might do and you wish there'd be a change. If you don't put forth that action, there will be no change. You may feel that it's going to change, but collectively, as a whole, let's just say even a group of people, that's still a collective. It's their whole right there. We have to work to make this change. And there is a change. And you know, before a change, and I often say that negativity can turn into positivity, because without that negativity, you don't have that same drive. If everything was handed to you on a plate, so to speak, you need to work for it. I guess that's what I'm hearing. And the more work that you put into, the more you'll understand and the more it will go forward. Because we can't just sit. If you're going through a bad time and you just sit and do nothing, that bad time continues. You've got to make that change and move forward. I mean, I say you've got to. We do each and every one of us what we feel that we need to do. But my feeling is, yes, you can't just sit and drown in misery. You've got to make that effort.
You got to look for a change.
Absolutely.
So you got to create change.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what age, correct? It doesn't matter if you're up in age, if you're young. Now is the time, because everybody's looking around saying, I'm going to sit back and wait.
No, and age really has nothing to do with it. I was listening, funnily enough, the other day, I was listening to a program, and I feel, you know, I'm getting older. But it doesn't matter, as long as I will continue doing what I'm doing as long as I'm able to, because we all have a different perspective on this. A young person that's just starting out, say a teenager, has a different point of view maybe to me as I'm in my senior years. But to bring those two, you know, I've had more experience in life than obviously a younger person, but I believe that you need to bring those two together no matter what. Age is just a number, that's all it is. But if you want to voice that, then you can communicate, and you're all asking for basically the same thing. We want world peace, we want to carry on with life and enjoy it, not always be in misery. I'm sure everybody wants that. So we have to work for that right now.
And what do we say to those that don't want to work for what they want?
Well, you know, everybody's an individual, and actually that is a good question, because I thought in the beginning that I could save the world with my story. I can't, because everybody's at different levels, everybody's on a different vibrational energy. But if you lift, and I talk a lot about this, but I believe it's very important, if you can just lift that vibrational energy, which from negativity will bring you into positivity, you are going to not only feel the right people, you are going to see the right people. And I think I'm living proof of that with the people that have walked into the studio here on a higher vibration, because that's how we attract each other. So if you stay in, I hate to keep saying misery, but if you stay in negativity, then that's what you're going to bring forward. So a message to someone that doesn't want to hear, It doesn't matter. I think you need to say just a little. You don't go on about it, but just say maybe you want to get out of this mess, maybe change your thoughts. That's all you may say. Now, it may be, like they say, talking on deaf ears, or whatever the expression is. They may not be ready. And if they're not ready, it's hard. It's really hard. But if they're ready, just a glimpse of that, they will begin their journey.
Be the energy you want to create. I was saying, time travel and astral projection,
Right.
there's similarities in that, no?
Yes, there is. And basically, my book is actually astral projection, because in the very beginning, I didn't even know what the word meant. But it's not like I was imagining what was happening, because I didn't know what was happening. But time travel, well, there is a difference. But we go to what they call, we all do this in our sleep. We go to what they call an astral plane.
Yes.
Now, a lot of us do not remember that. But if you're fortunate enough, and it hit me very quickly because I didn't know where I was, that I was on an astral plane. And if you begin to understand that, and if you meditate or you go to sleep, ask to do that. And then all sorts of things can happen there, because we have many, many different dimensions. So time travel is taking us at that time. Basically, time travel involves a lot, actually. But astral projections mean that you're going there to the astral plane, and from there anything can happen, actually, including time travel. We can all do this, but most of us don't, and most of us don't even know. But you have to also, I say we can all do this, but I have to say that you have to put the work in too, because it's not just going to come to you. You've got to understand a little bit. I didn't, but apparently my friend Aldo, who has added me in my book, told me that I had done all that I'm doing now in a previous lifetime. So my memory was still intact, but I hadn't brought it into this lifetime. So what he did is he opened a lot of my memory from a timeline, not a timeline, from a place that I knew in a past life, because I'm drawing that. So I couldn't deny that he was making this up. I'm drawing things from that lifetime. And he said I knew a lot about this. However, what I did is I put it, what he called, into a super consciousness, and had a couple of lifetimes after that and never brought it up. I'm bringing it up in this lifetime, if I've explained that correctly. So that involves time travel. It involves astral projection. There's nothing we really can't do. You just got to believe you can, because we're here. How did we get here?
I was going to ask you, based on that question, do you think that most of the fear is that people don't have an idea, or they're afraid to put the idea that they have to function?
It's a little bit of both, Freddie. A lot of people don't want to, because fear takes away what we're able to do. Because with anything, if you're fearful to do that, you're going to stop doing it. So if you put yourself into a position that you may be interested in, let's say, flying around, astral projecting. I didn't have that opportunity. It just happened to me. I'm going, I don't know about this. It may not happen. But if you truly believe that these things can happen, and you have an open mind, let's not even say fear, because you may be a little bit fearful. As long as you have that open mind, we can do so much. I mean, this is what came to me actually yesterday, and I felt really different. If you think about it, we're here. How did we get here? We're here. We do things. We have synchronicity. They're finding things today. Look at AI. Look at all these things. How does this happen? It happens because there's so much more. And it's so, to me, I feel like I've changed and I've grown a little bit more, even since yesterday. And how this works, I have a friend of mine, Marita, I don't know if you're watching, Marita, who lives in Melbourne. And I'm sitting there by myself, and I'm listening to something on Gaia TV, which is conscious, opens your consciousness. And I'm suddenly feeling so tremendously different. And all the things that I have wondered suddenly started to gel in my mind and made sense. My phone goes, I got a text. Marita, who's in Melbourne, says to me, do you feel different? Because I do. At the split second that, to me, I suddenly felt different. I said to myself, how does that happen? Because we're connected, especially on a higher vibrational energy, because you can recognize that connection more. We're all connected. We just don't always see it.
It also takes place lower.
Absolutely,
frequency.
Yes. Just look at it as a straight line, if you so to speak. And everybody, if you're on a lower vibration, I like to talk about the higher vibrations, but we're on a lower vibration too. You'll meet people will say, oh, I've got the same problem as you. Oh, how do you solve it? Now, when you lift your vibrational energy, someone will come to you with an idea and you'll say, yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Let's go forward. It's happening to me. Let's go forward with that idea. I've worked a long time to be where I am. Well, just use my website as an example. And I'm thinking, well, will this work? Well, I will not let that happen. I know it's going to work. I'm getting older, and I can say this now because I need to speed it up. I will speed it up. I want to show that I can, from never doing any of this. And you brought something to me today that made a lot of sense within me, Freddie. We were talking. Yes, I came here 2.5 years ago. I didn't know anything that I was going to do this. Nothing. I had never been on a radio show. I'd never been on TV. I had never done all these things. I'd never co-hosted a show. But in my mind, it was what I wanted to do. But I waited a long time, and I've never actually really been happier in my life at the end, the last part of my life, because I'm achieving what I want to do. So having said that, I know that it's going to be all right. You know, people will say, how do you know? I'm not even going to think that it won't be with what I'm doing.
But Sally, sometimes you find somebody who is embedded in a pool of people that just don't have the same viewpoint that you are striving for. Not bad people, they're all good people, but you have a different vision of what you want for yourself. But you stay in that pool because you can't find a way of breaking free and moving forward.
Well, that's why it's so important, because you know what? Whatever you want is there. I promise you it is. Look, I came to this country years ago. I didn't know where I was going, and I didn't know I knew this, but I trusted my judgment. It's there. But if you fall into that lower vibration, that's who you're going to meet. Okay? I sense the woo-woo-woo here. Something's going on. Okay? But I came here not knowing anyone. But I said to myself, I knew I had to put a smile on my face, because who in the world would want to talk to me if I'm going, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm so unhappy. So I woke up every day not knowing where I was going to be, because
You were supposed to be here 4 years ago.
I was, but the timing, our time, we can change that because we have timelines too. But when I eventually did come here, I was ready, Freddie. That sounds like a poem. I was ready, very. Okay, I have like, is that telling me I have 4 minutes before?
That's telling you 4 years ago.
Oh, 4 years ago.
There's a lot of people in this arena around me right now that I've been telling them, your time is coming.
Yes.
Here it comes. Some believe and some don't.
Well, it's entirely up to us too. We can't, it's like, I had to be knocked on the head, and I've said this before, for me to open up.
Yes, I know that.
So it's the same with everybody. I'm no different. And yet when I did, I changed completely. And we all can do that.
I love that. I love the fact that sometimes it takes years for you to wake up to the reality of you really are that good.
Yes, but the key to this is to know that. You know, as anything else, I'm still a human being, but it never questioned myself. And I can only talk from my experience to help other people, that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I had visions. I had visions, dreams of my art going on a screen.
Now it's on clothing.
That's exactly
now it's on
what
screen.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I said, well, where is this art going to be shown on a screen? It wasn't a screen, although I feel that it's still going to be on a stage. It was the clothing aspect of it. And it's all falling together, but I'm no different to anyone else.
Yeah, but you guys have helped so many people. You just haven't helped yourself.
Who's you guys?
And people.
Well, how did I get
Because some people wait years before. See, he has an excuse. He ain't been years, maybe 1, 2, but it's coming. He just has to
But
find
you
his
guys
path.
are so talented, and you've put that talent out there on the air. I mean, yeah, I've had a
She's
lot of
saying it.
compliments today, but I want to give it out to you guys. You have a perfect team together. You're more, how do I put this, like more, I'm not going to say normal because that's not the word.
We're not normal.
But she's
not-
more
I'm not even-
grounded.
But
more
I'm not talking
grounded.
about
More
us
grounded.
because we've been around doing
But
this for years.
grounded.
I like the fact about how this guy handles people in the studio, how different it is when he's not around as opposed to when he is around.
Didn't you bring someone in just being outside one day, if I remember? You brought someone in and they said, what is this? And you were doing just standing outside.
I think it was Peter.
Yes, Peter.
That's
Peter,
what it was.
yes. You see how
That's
that
one of many.
happens?
You brought in a couple of people. Just standing outside.
Just standing outside.
just
But that's
dancing.
a very good example because you have, I'm going to say you have what it takes. And you know that. You have that vibrational energy. I mean, I felt that connection when we first met. You know, it's something you feel. And you can do it. And you know that.
I was
But don't
wondering.
forget it.
I was wondering, you know, like we get close calls and whatnot when we're like driving and things like that. That's like I'll say, what was it? It was like a quantum fission of like our past life. So that would say like we passed like that before.
Well, not necessarily. Yes, we can have a vision of that. If you take yourself back, we can go through how we passed in a death situation. But the only reason I feel it might be, I don't know what happened to you, so I don't want to say it was a warning. But sometimes you see something because you're re-remembering something.
Okay.
There may not even be a reason for it. You're just re-remembering something. Did that happen?
It's kind of, sort of.
Okay, but it's nothing to be scared about because we
No, I
all
don't
pass
fear
and we go on.
anything.
I don't believe you are.
Try not to put fear into anything.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because just like anything else, sometimes we remember dreams, sometimes we don't. But I believe the ones that we remember, and they're important, and it's more of actually happening on the astral plane. I can describe my dreams from 20 years ago, every detail. And yet I had a dream last night or the night before, and I might not remember it. It's ones that are significant, that are really happening on another level.
And those are like the angels talking to us through our dreams.
Right. They're giving us messages. They are guides, and people, let's say from the other dimension, let's call it, are here protecting us all the time. As long as you know that, even if you just think and know that, you don't even really have to believe that in the beginning. You're going to feel calmer because we're not alone. Each and every one of us is not alone in this world. You don't have to see to, say see to believe, but you can feel that you're being protected. They want us to, they're helping us, but it's up to us to see that. We get synchronicity, we get many signs. Sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes it may not be our timeline because we are on different timelines too. So, but it will, just coming to the studio here, it happened. Each time it was someone that wanted to bring me in here. I didn't find you, the person found me. So the second one I listened to.
But your delivery of information is different than from other psychics and mediums. You never deliver negative news. However you deliver it, it may not be something great, but the way you deliver it is always comforting. And I think that's important to touch base on when people are looking for a psychic, for a medium. It's how you give the information. You always give hope.
Because that's what we need, Dawn. If I tune into something and I'm not saying if I speak to someone and I'm giving a message, it's not all positive news, but it's also the way that you deliver that. Because if you're making someone feel bad, because there's hope in everything. So if I deliver, oh, this is never going to work, you're never going to do this, change it, that might be part of what I'm hearing, but with anything else, I can say maybe today or maybe that's not the way to go, but not that it's never, because I don't know. Nobody, I believe no one can know someone else completely because we have different timelines. It's up to us to know. So if I have a vision, and I've had predictions too, it may or may not happen, but it may happen because I've had that prediction. And I've had quite a few, and I've seen it on TV of things that I've dreamt. I just never seem to get the dates of when it's going to happen. And if I do, if I went to, I don't even know where because I can see something and I can say I saw this, but I don't know. So I'm getting part of that. But it's still important to voice it, though, I think, anything, but in a nice way. You don't have to say, oh, I see that you're going to pass tomorrow, but it will be all right, you know. It's how you, with anything in life, it's how you present that, right?
But I think that's important for people to know when they're looking right now. People are in this tumultuous upheaval, whether it's business or jobs, relationships. Mercury retrograde wreaked havoc on a lot of relationships this past month. And they come to me, do you know a psychic? We know many, but when I describe you, and people want to know about time continuums, and they want to know about other timelines, I can't describe it. All I can say is, here's her website, here's her contact information, because how you deliver it makes people feel hopeful that everything's going to be okay, and that they're not crazy when they see themselves on a different continuum.
Well, thank you for pointing that out to me,
It's
Dawn,
important for
because
people to realize.
and it's important in my life's path to do that too. So what you just said to me makes me feel happy about, I always feel happy about what I'm doing, but that I'm coming across, let's say, that way, because it's very important, because we've all got to have hope no matter what, even if it may not be the right timing to do something, but if you stop thinking about things that you want to do and have some faith, then you're really going down a wrong path here. So my hope, again, is to tell people that whatever you feel, whatever you think, go ahead and try it, try it. I came here at 28 or 30, and I just got on a plane because now that I think back, I think I was crazy. But I did it without that thought, with having to be here because my family had arrived over here and I had nothing left in London. And I said, you know what, I have nothing to lose. But I wasn't positive like I was now, but somewhere in me did, because why did I get on that plane not knowing a soul here? And I came here and I stayed. So it's been a long road for me, and I've been thinking more about that too. And I think, how in the world did I do that? But somewhere in the back of my head, I was being guided. I listened to my thoughts. And it wasn't easy, it certainly wasn't easy, as life isn't, but I learned a lot from it. And I recommend do this, follow your passion. Can't go wrong. What can the best thing happen? It may not happen right away, it may not happen, but at least you're doing something that you feel good about.
Well, I'm a firm believer, momentum stirs momentum. And this morning when you showed up, a lot of things happened. A lot of things that you know about, a lot of things you don't know about. We were in Studio A, we were talking about the different platforms that we want to issue the shows on. And they all knew them. I didn't know that TikTok went live. It doesn't record it, but it goes live. TikTok. So all of a sudden, about a handful of them said, you sell coffee, you sell tea. They didn't know. So sometimes momentum is like a marble hits another marble that hits another marble. And next thing you know, it's going round and round and round.
Effect.
This guy, he ended up not going to work today. There's a reason. There's a reason that all this happened.
And that's exactly what we're talking about on the show.
like
you see how that happens?
God is trying to tell me slow down. I've been doing so much lately.
That's too much. Or maybe you're not supposed to be on the road right now.
There's a
Because there's
reason.
a major pileup over there, and you're going to miss it because you ain't there.
And the good thing is we don't have to even know the reason. It doesn't matter. The fact that you're sitting here right now is what matters. No matter what, we don't know what was going to happen out there, but does it really matter? You know that you're comfortable here right now. So we don't always have to have the answer on that, but follow your intuition. I fell down 10 years ago and broke this shoulder. I had to slow down a little bit. And I said, oh, well, I know that. 2 years ago now, or a little over, about 3 years ago, I fell down and broke the other shoulder in the same place. And I said, you know what? Something is telling me something.
Well, you gotta find out what the something is. But if you don't try, if you don't give it a shot, if you're not aware of your surroundings, and you're just gonna stick your head in the clouds, stick your head down and not take a shot. I went to Tampa and came back. I went to see my grandkids, went to see my son, but then I went to work at malls and different functions and everything else. And it's funny because I tell everybody, if there were certain kids in here with me on these functions, this guy being one of them, I would still be there.
Right.
There is so much business out there. I'm not talking about $1 million deals. I'm talking about a number of different businesses out there waiting to be heard, talking to people, wanting the platforms that we have going on here. Just to meet you and to greet with you and to inspire them.
So what you're doing is you're putting forth your inspiration, and people are following that. And I really believe that works. Because if you just sit at home, or you're not going to hear, obviously you're in your studio and it's working in the studio, but for people that want to do something and they're just sitting in their own surroundings, even get on the internet, do something to start the ball rolling, so to speak. Because when you truly believe that you're doing something and it's going to work, as I really do. I'm more positive now about my website than I've ever been about anything, because I truly believe that this is what I was meant to do with my art. But everybody has that. It's not just me. You follow your passion. But don't sit back and stop it, because it's all imagination. It's coming from a thought in your head, right? So if you just sit and you think about it, where are you going to go with it? You've got to put that action forward. Same as how we started our show, and I'm actually remembering, which I don't usually, of putting vibrations out into the earth right now, into the universe, into people, into people. It's very important to give this to people. It's up to them. We can't make anybody do anything. We can only tell them to take some sort of action, and if they want to follow, we might end up with a really happy world today.
Can you imagine?
It's funny because a lot of people tell me you have choice, and then you look at somebody and they don't see choice. They just see despair. We got to take a commercial break.
Okay, I'll see you back on the other side of this show.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, what in the world is going on? And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. Yeah, Hi, we're back. We were just talking about past lives. Okay, that's
You believe in
interesting.
past lives?
Do I? Oh, absolutely, 100%. because I was drawing things from other lifetimes that I'd never seen. There is no way. And I'm drawing things from the lifetime I'd had with my friend Aldo, who actually introduced himself to this lifetime. So for me, yeah, I didn't always.
How many lifetimes can a person have had?
That's a very open-ended question, because we could have 1,000. But this is what Aldo told me, Adam, I keep saying in my book, because they won't know who Aldo is. But we're only going to bring in, you can't, even if you can remember some of them, you're not going to remember every aspect of that life. You're going to bring in what's relevant to learn in this lifetime. So if you'd done something in another lifetime and it hadn't, let's say, closed, there's no closure on it, or a person, a place, or a thing, we're going to bring it in. It doesn't have to be the last lifetime. It could be 20 lifetimes prior to this one. We're going to bring it in when it's relevant in a lifetime, so that we have the opportunity to learn more. It's all really about, it's a learning journey. It's a learning. We're playing a game here, and I'd like to do a show on that too, because I'm understanding so much more when people call this an illusion. Basically is an illusion. Yes. When I first heard that, I said, no, but it's a simulation. It's not so different, and I know that you know this, so you know I'm not going crazy here, right? It's no different to a computer, and we're in this all together. So if you think that, just that alone, just believe that you can manifest, because you can. You can manifest, but you can't.
I got a question. Suppose you show someone options, because you got to give people a choice, and they pick the worst option.
Okay.
Is that my interpretation, or it's just the fact that what they're about to do is picking the wrong way?
It's a lesson that it's really a lesson. It's a lesson that you can see how they're making the mistakes, but it's not your lesson.
So
this is coming to me so clearly.
So is there a mistake?
Well, if some are, some aren't. Perhaps that's the way they were meant to learn that. So no matter what, there is no good or bad, and I know that sounds silly too. There's no right or wrong way. There's balance. So once someone is doing something, for them it might be the thing to do. But if you're not going to let someone or a child walk into a fire, you're going to protect them. But basically, we have instincts too. Even a child will know that that's hot. But we're here all in this mess together, okay? We're all here to learn. So I can't tell you basically this is what you're meant to do, that's what you're meant to do, because it might be right for me, but it might not be right for you.
So you can't live there wrong?
You can't live anyone else's life, basically. It's up to...
No, not live their life. I'm talking about choosing one specific wrong.
Like door number 1 or door number 2? Or
door number 20.
Or taking in their hurt?
No, door number 20. And you know that door number 4 is the right door. And they pick another door.
But maybe door number 4 is right for you.
But hold on.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All the other doors now take that person down a different path.
But maybe that's the path they're supposed to be on.
Exactly. It may be, and they may look at that path differently. We're all individuals too. They may look at that
Confucius,
path differently.
Then I have a question for you.
Okay.
Then should we present options, or let people just find them in the desert?
No, you can present, as far as what I feel, you can present options, but the answer to those options is entirely up to the person. You can't pick you can tell someone this might be the way to go, this is the way I would do it, but you can't make it if you think about it. A child, you have to help them, but really, basically, deep down, you can tell them what might go wrong, and you can do it in a nice way, as I was saying, but you really can't make, if you think about anybody, to do something.
Not make.
No,
Don't get me wrong. I've been down a path, somebody, for a year, giving them 100 different options, and all they did was drop the ball. And they were about to do it again today. And I said, no more. And I made it so that the option was there. Now they can only do it or not do it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, that's exactly, yes. And that's, but when the decision is finally made, especially if it's a good one, you're going to feel good. But I
don't want to feel good. I just want them to see that they picked an option.
Because you showed the right direction. We can only put someone with our thoughts into the right direction. But you can wake up someone's mind. I actually know what you're talking about now, yes.
Yeah.
Because what you felt, I felt the same way about that particular person, and I have also told her too. So but it has to be the right timing for that. But I mean, here I'm at a good example.
I ain't gonna be around too long for
And
the
then
right
it
time.
has to be the right financial situation.
Yes.
Because if it involves money and finances, it may be the right decision.
That was never ever
But
a
I'm-
question.
I just mean in general. If it involves money and people don't have that money, they can't make that decision because
What
they
if
don't
they
have the
always
means.
had the money? You're always just afraid to make the
Fear?
decision
It's fear. Exactly, Dawn. It's fear.
because they didn't feel like they had support. They
You know,
didn't
it's
feel.
easy to talk about it sitting here and say what we feel, but it's one thing feeling it. It's another thing for that person to do it, or to, you know, it takes courage sometimes to do something or to step out, but it's worth it. And eventually, you can only, you know, that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a horse drink. I think it's something like that. It's the same
Get
with
out of
people.
my head.
Yeah, but you can show them the
yeah,
water
but all
is
of a
there.
sudden in Studio B, and G was with me.
Timing.
That person was crying to tears, crying
Timing.
her
It's
eyes out
timing.
for making the right move.
Because that was her passion. That was her passion.
I'm just saying, take a shot.
And it worked because you truly believe in that person. I also do because I know who you're talking about. And she'll tell you, I've been telling her this for about, I would say, months and months. This is what you need to do. This is what I see for you to do. And
But
she'll
you have
tell
to
you
do what
that.
feels right in your heart. When I started working with you, how many
4
people
years
told
later?
me, don't open that door?
I don't know how many people told you that, Dawn.
Everyone except me, but I opened the
But
door.
why would you
Dawn,
listen for 4 years?
But it's the same conversation you're having with Sally. If there's a door and you want to take it and 20 people tell you don't, you have to have the strength within yourself to take the door you want.
And I
to.
got an
G-Man,
answer
but
for
hold
that.
on, G-Man. And now look at her encouraging all of the interns that come in here is don't be afraid to take this step.
I'm going to give a good example about myself, but the timing is right. I had a website before, but unfortunately I had a lot of situations and circumstances that I didn't completely follow through with it. You had mentioned, I may mention your son, that he does websites.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
Yes, there you go. But I had to be ready. And then I realized, I knew in the back of my mind, your son does this. And it suddenly clicked. Why am I bothering with someone else when I have everything here? Had you have not told me your son did websites, I
A year
wouldn't.
and a half ago.
Yeah, but it's working, and it's going to work, Freddie.
And I called him and I says, publish it now. This was Friday. He said, but no buts. Publish it. I don't care what it looks like. I made a promise to Steve that it was going to go out Friday, and there it was.
Yes, but in a way, I'm going to say that maybe I was right too, because I didn't know that there was something. It's no one's fault. It was mine
That's
for
all right,
not
but now
checking.
we can fix it instead
But
of
we can fix it, so
That's
it's all ready
nothing.
to go today. This
That's a
evening.
minor fix. We're going to take care of that in 20
Yeah.
minutes.
So, but you know what? Timing is right too. And I tell you about that too, because some of my artwork, it's not that one, it's the one over there. I started to paint like that, never painted with all the lines, and we probably can't see it here. And I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Steve wasn't well, and I was sitting at home, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got to start painting. Totally different from anything I'd ever done. But you know what? Everybody loves that artwork on my clothing. They love that artwork. Probably won't do any more of that, but it served its purpose and my time for that, because it's on a couple of dresses. So that was the reason for doing that.
I had an image that you spoke to people and you encouraged them to put artwork on clothing. So you would show yours, and then other people have their own vision, and you would teach them how to do that. I met a gentleman in Puerto Rico, about 25 years ago, who used to draw your face on a shirt, and then he turned it into a clown or a fairy.
Oh.
And it was unbelievable. He used to sell out in 4 hours. And the line went around the corner. Now, I didn't want a shirt. I wanted to know what he was doing and how he did it. It was the most unbelievable. And I look at you, and I think that your art was never meant to be put on canvas.
No. The only reason it was meant to be put on canvas was to take a picture of it to put on clothing. Yeah, absolutely. I completely 100%
And
agree
that's a
with
phenomenon.
that. Yeah.
You know, putting clothing and
goosebumps.
art, I've known it for 30 years. But I've never met anybody like this who actually did it. That's kind of scary.
Because I even though I'm just launching that really in a big way now, I feel personally, I don't usually talk about myself, but I feel personally that I am doing 100% the thing that I'm meant to do right now. Absolutely. I'm comfortable with my website. I'm comfortable here in the studio, comfortable. I know that you have to advertise when you've got a product, because I could have the best product in the world, which you were saying, and this goes to anybody. If nobody can see it, what's the point of it? Let's do it so everybody can see, and anybody thinking at home, well, I've got this idea and maybe, but what do I do? Do what you feel and then show the world, because we have the opportunity, we have the internet. When I was a kid, you had to have brick and mortar, as they call it, and only people passing by could see it, or you put an ad in a newspaper. Today we have everything to do this advertising. For anyone that wants to sell anything, do it, because the world can see it.
I think today more than ever people need hope.
They do, and if that, even just this little message of telling, it's not just us sitting here, anybody. Come to the studio, which we saw today. Put your show out there. Even, yes, everything takes money, but that's okay, because if you're doing it, the money will come, whatever you need
Everything
will
takes
come
money.
back.
Eating
Everything.
takes money.
That's what I'm saying.
You're right.
Everything
Like,
takes
everything
money.
takes money.
But if you're following your passion and in your heart, I mean, you know, I'm not a prophet, but I feel that you really can't go, you feel inner contentment with yourself. And to have that, with all this other mess going on, to have that inner feeling of, you know what, I'm doing something for myself, and then I can help other people, because if I'm not right, I can't help that
Well, look
next
at this
person.
guy. He's helping everybody.
It's
More than
crazy.
he's even helping himself sometimes.
No, that's what it is.
How does he find the right path, the right door, as you said,
Because
Freddie?
he has an inner, you have that knowing. I don't want to call it knowledge, it's a knowing.
I was just about to tell you that, but I didn't know how to word
Naturally.
it. I was gonna say I feel like I know a lot of stuff, but I've never done it before. But when I do it, I know I've done it before.
Because, well, there's two answers to that question, actually. First of all, you have, but there's two ways that you can, you could have done that in a previous lifetime, but the second one is that we do arrange what we're going to do, if it's before we come in or a timeline. So, and I talked about this before, we have deja vu sometimes, like you feel you know what that person is going to say, and I know how I'm going to answer. It's because we've worked it out. Now, having said that, we can choose another timeline. But when you're on, I believe not necessarily the right one, but the one you're meant to be on at that time, we get that type of synchronicity to make us follow along that. Like, we change timelines all the time, but when we're in tune with this, every single thing will open up to you. Whatever you need, you'll get a phone call. Even to wearing the right thing at the right time in the right place, it falls in, oh my God, they're telling me this so strongly. It just falls into place, because the main thing is, please believe in yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, it's making me want to cry. Other people will believe you because you're believing it, and the right people will show up. I was brought up, just again a little bit more about myself. Oh, you're a woman. And I love my parents, but in those days, a woman just had babies, got married, and didn't work. But I knew that wasn't what I was meant to do, but that's what I did. And I felt very uncomfortable about that. I thought there has to be more in this world. Today, children are not brought up that way. They're taught to express themselves, good and bad to that. But at least they do have that opportunity. You're not say, well, you don't really have to do anything, just have a baby. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're still an individual. So I was brought up in a different generation. But we have the world here to do all the things we want to do. We have the internet that is wide opening. Follow your dream. Follow your heart, and let's hope all this mess works out, because it is a mess.
It's all about flow, is what
Yes,
you're talking about.
absolutely.
What's meant for you will be yours
Exactly, Dawn.
and will come easy. What's not meant for you is difficult, because it shouldn't be yours anyway. Life should be, I learned all of this weekend.
This
It's
is
about
beautiful.
flow.
It is. It's very much, because it all literally flows.
That's what you just said.
Yes, because I don't remember
It
sometimes.
just falls in place.
You know-
It flows for you.
You know, sometimes your flow, you don't recognize it because it's just so vast. And then some people get caught in your flow. And the next thing you know, you feel like you're responsible for them, because they're like looking at you and they're, what is this feeling? What am I going through? What's happening? So you have to understand your flow. You have to understand your kinetic field, because it's like a magnet. So people that are looking for that tie-up, you're going to get them. They're going to be on your sleeve. They're going to be all over you.
Right.
This happens to you almost every other day. And the bottom line, right? Yeah. And the bottom line is you have to learn how to control your own flow.
It's synchronicity. It all falls into place. We all have synchronicity. We call it different names. We call it coincidence. We call it many names.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really open up, which I know you know, to this flow, that synchronicity, you're doing the right thing. And that's why you meet the right people. You meet the right situation. Everything you're thinking about suddenly appears. I mean, I had this the last couple of days. It was my program, well, yesterday really, that I wanted to watch and I wanted to learn a bit more, and I didn't know where to go on the TV. And I watched YouTube or Gaia, and everything that I wanted to know. All my questions were being answered, and it helped me because I also need people to tell me. I hear them, but in physicality, as Aldo did. And I said, how did that happen? But you know what? I felt good about it, and I knew it had. So I needed to pass that on too.
I was getting my nails done on Saturday, and there's a company, I haven't even told you, that I keep seeing on social media that I want to reach out to. But it's a random company. It's a huge corporation. I'm like, how am I ever going to break in? So I'm sitting next to this woman talking about nails. Who does she work for? This company. Not only does she work for them, she runs the entire company in South Florida remotely. And where does she live? Up the street.
So what you do?
She even knows her daughter took dance next door. So we had a
So what'd you do?
conversation. I'm going to call her. She's going to come by, and couldn't believe what we did. Her background is everything that my background is, and how she fell into healthcare. And she's like, oh, I know that. I said, well, we share a wall with the dance studio. And it was just like
Well, that's a
that,
good example.
getting my nails done, having a conversation.
But you
and they don't do any advertising yet. So
You
they're
need to
looking.
follow, well, not you, but when that happens,
Yeah.
there's a need to follow through, because I had a very good example
Yeah.
the other day of that English guy. I can't remember his name, Spider? Something?
Spider Cherry?
Yes, this was a crazy coincidence. I walked in, I didn't know him, and then he said he was from London, and all the places that he knew in London, I knew, and probably some of the people. And then he tells me when he went to school. And I said, but my son went to that school. So he not only lived near me in London, he went to the same school as him. Then I kind of knew the answer. I said, where do you live here? His parents are across the road from me.
That's crazy.
I haven't found the exact house, but it's
good.
in Lindisfarne. I mean, I don't, but where I'm bringing that up is I don't know the reason for that yet.
But I know
it
when
has
you're
to
in
be.
flow, you will have those synchronicities and those things.
Yeah.
Right now, you're in work mode.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get in life mode, there's
But
so
when
much
they
greatness
present
for you.
themselves, there's a reason, because we can just say, "Oh, well, that was nice. It was synchronicity." But you know more than now to know that there was definitely that synchronicity was there for a reason. As I am with this Spider-Man, is his name?
Spider Cherry.
But I actually spoke to his father
In
on
the
the
spider
phone
den.
because I couldn't believe that they were living very near me in London, and now they're over here, and their son went to the same school, and they're kind of in my age group too.
Well, what is
So-
his guardian, who's right there with him today?
You're right where you're meant to be, and that person, whoever it is, always tells me the same thing about you. You're right where you're meant to be.
I feel like it as well. I just feel like I've been
You've
doing
got-
so
you've
much
got a
and I'm not
calmness
tired.
over you. Yep. I was just going to say, because that it's motivating you.
like
Just
brimming.
go with the flow right now. You're in a perfect, right now you're in a perfect, I feel like I'm seeing like a tube for some reason, and you're right there and you're fitting in with that, and everything going on around you can be chaotic, it doesn't matter. But you're there, you're stagnant there, and you're just taking it in, and it's helping you decide the next move.
You know, it's funny. I coached a long time, over 20 years. And on the teams that won championships, there was leaders, there were good ball players, there were fillers, and there were inning eaters, because it was baseball and football. And sometimes you have to have a kid that can take innings out of the game because you have to sort of stretch the game out. But then there's that magic of that one or two people that you need on every team for it to work. And you can't explain this. I have stopped trying to even understand it. It's just there.
Right.
And you just let it go. And it goes, and the next thing you know, everybody's in a different place. If you see when we went to the beach, if you look at the things that happen in here, if you know this kid, if you give him a chance to say hello, he's not going to be flamboyant. He's not going to do any of that. He just does what he does. And he's the glue that sticks it all together.
Right.
That's the difference.
And it doesn't just I mean, I can only go by example of what's happened to me in here. How many people, Dawn, have come in when I've been sitting here that have done, that understand? I mean, a lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about, but they seem to come in on that level because you guys are bringing, this is like a meeting place for that vibrational energy. Well, that seems to be opening even more, that door at the back there.
The nexus point.
Yeah, it's
Well,
open wider.
everybody has their own calling. Sometimes you just need a place to see that you're not alone.
Well, you
and
made
you're
a
not
home
nuts.
here, I think. I mean, I don't know how
You
long.
know what's so beautiful? There's someone who works with us, and they've had a dark past. And they've been interviewed on the news for their dark past. They, in turn, have taken everything that they have now achieved in a positive light and reached out to the news companies. And they've been receptive on
You
where
hear the story.
on where they are now and the growth of what it is. And things that you would never even think of doing. And now they come forward in their light.
And that's what it's really about too, because it's sharing too. We've all had a lot of things happen in our past, but I think when you bring it forth, it helps the person, but it also helps a lot of individuals because you're not the only one going through whatever that situation is or will be, other people. But by sharing everything with us, with not us, anybody actually, suddenly it's making it better. It's making it better for other people. So I guess the answer to what I'm trying to say is share, but share it to know that there's always hope. Things will open up to you that you have no idea what could happen. But the main thing is to share, to be honest and truthful about your feelings, and judgmental. We're all I'm judgmental, but I think judgmental is just coming to me. Try not to judge because we don't know someone else's path. Like people say to people, have a good day, and they might shout back at you or something. You don't know what they're going through. So
True.
that applies.
Now,
you
Sally,
know.
before we end the show, I want you to let people know about your artwork, how to find it, also your book,
Right.
and let people know that they can call you if they have questions. They can come into studio. Hold on.
And actually, what I was realizing, because I have I have on my art, they can write to me. It's art by Sally Barnard, BARNARD.com. It's my boutique. It's a brand new boutique that's just opening. Actually, tonight or tomorrow, it will be ready to go. So please visit. As I had said before, ask me any questions. You can write comments to me. My email goes through, I believe, from the site to me. So anything that you want to ask or call in here too, well, however you want to do it, I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to help to the best of my ability. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you. And my book is also there, and it's either a paper book or an ebook. Just go in, it'll all be on my website, everything that we're talking about. And also the shows are going to be on the website
Absolutely,
too.
you're gonna have a
So
library.
you'll find my shows on there too. So we're going to be adding each week to
There'll
that.
be library, yeah.
Great. So it's a good website. Please visit, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.